Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with the phone number that you originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on that item. To ensure audio clarity, I suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies, and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Ron Hunt, Asif Khan, Paul Kidd, and Nadini Sankar Peralta. City staff are also present: Simon Lamb, Adam Wills, Kelly Reed, Nick San Juan, and Chris Pereira. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if desired. If the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak on the item. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent proceeds first and will make their presentations to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. To ensure that a revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised. Then individuals, either in support or opposed to the application, are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This marks the end of discussion on the item. The application is then taken into committee for a decision. Mr. Lamb, do we have any minutes to adopt? No, and we have no files to close? Thank you. Are there any conflicts of interest that the panel would like to declare? None. Thank you very much. We do have We do have a deferral request in the morning session. We'll start that off. Oh, I'd also like to announce item number 2 on our morning agenda is A0753/21NY, 25 Walder Avenue. That was erroneously placed on the morning agenda. It should be in the afternoon agenda. So we will not be dealing with item number 2 in the morning. It will be dealt with this afternoon at 1:30. Thank you. I have a request for a deferral from item number 4, that is 1 Kildeer Crescent. And I have the agent, Peter Giordano. Are you there?
I am, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Giordano, you are requesting a deferral?
That is correct.
Can you tell the committee the reasons for the deferral?
Yeah, absolutely. We received last minute comments from Forestry late last week. Worked with Forestry to try to resolve some of those, but of course, it's going to change some of the aspects of our site plan. It will allow us to save an oak tree that's in the rear of the property. We have neighbors that are opposed to our application, and a number of them are against the removal of that oak tree. The revisions that we're planning will allow that oak tree to stay, and as well as some wording. Your items number 3 and 5 had the words east and west reversed in the description, in the various descriptions. They were cut and paste from the zoning notice, but they are in fact incorrect, and of course they do need to be corrected. So and that was on a waiver, so we will update that in our revised application.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, I have 3 other speakers who are registered to speak on this item.
Mr. Chair, before we go on, I just want to bring to your attention 2 of the area residents are here to speak. Jeff Cattell is currently not present on the call.
Mr. Balkos?
Jeff Cattell is not apparently, he's not on the call at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Wills. Okay, I have Tom Balkos. Are you there, sir?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask, do you have an objection to the applicant requesting a deferral?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Next speaker on our list is Jim or Jennifer Davidson. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you have any objections to the applicant's request for a deferral?
No, not at all. That's great news.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to the committee. Can I get a motion on this deferral request, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll put forward a motion to approve the deferral of this application, sine die, to give the applicant a chance to deal with the forestry issue as well as make corrections to the actual file.
Thank you very much. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can correct your notice and to meet with urban forestry and affected neighbors.
That's terrific. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go back to our regular agenda. I have item number 1, 503 Fairlawn Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is Limor Benmor Mizrahi. Are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sir, can I get your full name and address, please?
It's Madam, and my name is Limor Benmor Mizrahi of LB Mizrahi Architect, Inc. at 321 Hidden Trail, North York, Ontario.
Okay, thank you very much,
the
sir.
architect and agent.
I'm just going through your application here. You have 7 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I note that the only comments we have from staff are from urban forestry, a recommended condition. I think the committee is pretty clear on what you're asking for. I'll just ask, sir, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this morning?
No, I do have a presentation prepared, but if the committee doesn't require it, that's it's up to you. No problem.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is to Ms. Rahi, that is the building is already built or is going to be built, because the application says it's a new dwelling.
It's a proposed new dwelling. It will be built to replace an existing dwelling.
So I have noticed that you have not submitted the existing plan of the existing building.
It will be demolished. It's shown on the site plan as in a red line showing what is being demolished. So it's the house and the detached garage. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given that there are no additional department comments or concerns and subject to urban forestry requirements, I would move adoption of this application.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. Sir, your application has been approved, subject to urban forestry conditions. Thank you very much, sir.
It's Madam. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Again, like I said before, item number 2 has been moved to the afternoon agenda. We'll move to item number 3, which is 36 Addison Crescent. I have 2 people registered to speak. The owner is the first registered speaker, Steve Scandalis. Are you there?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. It's Steve Scandalis, 36 Addison Crescent, North York, M3B1K8.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to say, I note that there are a couple of reports from staff. There's the recommended conditions from urban forestry. There's also a report from city planning dated the 12th of January of this year. They indicate that they have no objections to your application, provided that the building length and rear yard setback are developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to their report. I noticed that you have 4 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask, sir, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this morning?
Just to clarify, this is our second time at committee for the exact same drawings. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of, we've gone through this. There was an error in zoning, which was acknowledged by the city, and that's why we're before the committee again for a second time. The plans have not changed since the first approval. Everything that was in the first approval from Committee of Adjustments, we haven't changed a thing.
Okay, thank you, sir. If I could just ask, I would suggest you probably should give the committee a brief presentation, because we have one other person registered to speak on your application, so they may require a little more meat to your argument. So if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see the merits of your application.
Sure, yeah. So we originally submitted for committee and received approval. When we went for permit, it was identified that something was missed by zoning. Although the drawings have not changed since day one, I guess the main issue is the back porch. In the drawing submitted, it was shown as excavated and living space, which wasn't initially picked up, and it triggered another variance. So here we are, we find ourselves back at committee. We haven't changed the drawings at all. We did receive lots of neighbor support. regarding the drawings, the way they are as existing, and we're submitting them for a second time to get all the proper approvals. But we have not changed our submission even from the first time we submitted to committee. And I guess the main concern was the back porch. I guess zoning had missed the fact that it was an excavated back porch and living space.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, I'll move to our next speaker on the list, which is Alice or Scott Archer.
Mr. Chair, it is Alicia Archer.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Chair.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Alicia Archer, 44 Addison Crescent, North York, Ontario, M3B1K8.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
I have no objections. I am new to the area and I wanted to experience what is going on with the City of Toronto in regards to requesting for city approval.
Okay, so it's safe to say that you're in favor of the application?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I am.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd. Mr. Kidd, we can't hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In my view, the requested variances are minor and appropriate proposal for development in this neighborhood. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to forestry condition and also subject to planning staff condition that the building length and rear yard setback be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to the planning staff report dated January 12th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd.
Thank you.
Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Item number 5. Item number 4, which was 1 Kildeer Crescent, that's been deferred. Item number 5 is 135 Pemberton Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is Ian Franklin. Are you there, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, thank you. I can hear you, sir. Thank you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Ian Franklin. I'm a senior associate at Jayco Planning Services, located at 230 Cranbrook Crescent in Vaughan.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note that there is just one comment from staff, and that's from Urban Forestry, a recommended condition. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances we have before us. I just asked, sir, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this morning?
I don't believe so. It's a fairly straightforward application. I believe the variances are fairly minor in regards to height and side yard setbacks. I do have a small supporting material presentation of neighborhood context photos, if that would benefit the committee.
Well, I'll ask the committee if they have any questions. They'll ask you for it. I'll go back to the committee. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Franklin, I will remind you that variance number 6, the height that you have quoted, building height, 9.44. But if you kindly see your plans, established grade to roof, you will see that this height is not 9.44, but it is 9.98. So which one is the correct figure? Please tell me.
I believe that based on the zoning review, it should be 9.44.
But the plans are showing it is 9.98.
Sorry, let me just bring up mine.
Ian, we've also got it up on the screen for you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why that doesn't match up with the requested variance here.
Anyhow, Mr. Franklin, under both circumstances, whether it is 4.4 or 9.8, and it doesn't match, you have exceeded the allowable limits of 8.88 meters. So this is not a minor infraction or variance.
I believe that despite that comment being at 9.44, 9.48, it does exceed the height variance of the required is 8.8. I do believe that both requests are still minor in nature, as the purpose of having the increase in height is based off of the definition of established grade in both the Toronto bylaw 569/2013 and the North York bylaw. Due to the fact that the slope of the established grade is actually going towards the north of the property, we did need it taller in the north because the established grade is the average elevation of the ground measured at the 2 points 0.01 meters past the side lot line. So it is going to be an unequal established grade at the rear of the property based on what's at the front of the property. So I do believe that the height request is still minor in nature.
Sir, if I could add, the height of the building complies with the new bylaw. Is that correct?
Yes, other than I believe the side wall, the overall height is, but the side main wall of the building on the east side is above. We are requesting a variance on that.
And the bylaw you're requesting the variance from is technically the old obsolete North York bylaw.
Yes, the maximum height of 9.44 is only requested variances from the North York bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Upon review of this application, I think it does meet the four tests for me, and I think it is minor and appropriate, and I accept the explanations provided by the applicant here today. So I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application, and I'll make it subject to forestry condition number 2.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. That motion carries. Sir, your application has been approved subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much, everyone. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Item number 6, 541 St. Clements Avenue. I have 2 people registered to speak.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to bring to your attention very quickly that the area resident is not on the call at this time.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wills?
The area resident is not on the call at this
thank
time.
Should we stand this one down and...
I have reached out to them again this morning to let them know, so we can if you like to. Otherwise...
I'll stand it down and we'll come back to it.
Sounds good.
Item number 7, 618 Millwood Road. I have 3 people registered to speak. The agent is Corey Brown. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here, Mr.
Can I
Chair.
get your full
Thank you.
name and address, please?
My name is Corey Brown. My address is 57 Spencer Ave, Suite 32, Toronto, Ontario, M6K 2J7.
Okay, thank you, sir. I've gone through the file. I note that we have no staff comments or recommended conditions on file with your application. We do have other people registered to speak on this application, so if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and hello, chair members of the committee. I'd like to start by noting a minor discrepancy between the zoning review and the site plan drawing. Variance number 2 is correctly stated in the zoning review as a proposal for a floor space index of 0.853, and the note on the site plan stating a floor space index of 0.82 is to be disregarded. The applicant is proceeding with the zoning review's FSI calculation of 0.853.
Okay,
I'd also like to make...
so what's on the notice is correct? The proposed floor space index is 0.853 times the area of the lot is correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to proceed then?
Sure. I'm here on behalf of the applicants at 618 Millwood. They are a family of 4 with another child on the way. They moved into the 1930s era single-story house in 2017, which is smaller than the typical 2 or more story houses in the immediate neighborhood. Since the family moved in, the parents' working arrangement has transitioned to working from home full-time due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the family has grown and continues to grow, which has caused the existing house to no longer be adequate and is the basis for this application. Variance number 1, which is the minimum side yard setback, requires a minimum of 0.9 meters, whereas the proposed east yard side setback is 0.54 meters. This is associated with the existing as-built conditions of the house. The variance would allow the proposed second and partial third levels to be aligned with the main walls in order to avoid an expensive and awkward structural solution, and would maintain the character of the neighborhood. Variance number 2, which is the floor space index, has a maximum of 0.6 times the area of the lot. However, the proposed is 0.853, as previously mentioned. This is in response to requiring a dedicated workspace to work from home on a permanent basis, and in conjunction with the necessity for additional bedrooms to accommodate their growing family. Increasing the floor space index to 0.853 is congruent with the addition of a second and partial third floor on a narrow lot, and also with the pattern of development in the neighborhood. Variance 3, the minimum front yard setback required is 4.73 meters, whereas the proposed is 4.52. This is also associated with existing as-built conditions. The applicant wishes to replace the existing front porch overhang with a new porch overhang of the same dimensions, height, and location as the existing, but incorporated into the new construction, to also blend in with the neighborhood and establish datums. Variance number 4, which is the maximum height, permitted maximum height of the building is 9 meters. We're asking relief from this to go with 10.152 meters. And the additional height requested is required to accommodate the aforementioned increase in FSI and associated domestic functions. The additional height accommodates 3 new bedrooms and a new dedicated home office workspace, as well as children's play area. To reduce the impact of the increased height, the proposed third-story facade is recessed 2.78 meters from the front street-facing facade, which is the south main wall. So the house presents to the public realm as a 2-story, 7.93 meter house. This is visible in the elevations. The design proposes also a pitched roof silhouette to maintain the established neighborhood skyline character and maintains east to west access to daylight for the immediate neighbors as well as sky view. Variance number 5, which is the maximum height of specified pairs of walls, requires a maximum height of 7 meters, whereas we are asking for 8.08 meters. The maximum height of the main pair of walls is being requested for the same reasons as variance number 4, and that it follows, we would need this for the increase in height at the sides as well as the pitched roof design. And finally, variance 6 addresses the maximum height in regards to bylaw 438-86, and again is for the same reasons as variance 4. Research into previously granted minor variances in the area revealed that there are a number of relevant precedents in the neighborhood for each of the variances being requested by the applicant.
Can you summarize, please?
Sure. In addition to working with the community planner, the application became closer to as of right, and the proposed construction was presented to the immediate neighborhood for support and comments. 12 letters of support were received, with one late letter of support being received from 614 Millwood, and this includes both
thank you,
immediate
sir.
neighbors. Thanks.
Thank you. I just wanted to emphasize, I noted that there were a number of letters of support. I noticed the neighbors on either side of your property are both in favor of the application. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan? Mr. Khan, we can't hear you.
Sorry about that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
We can hear you now.
Mr. Brown, variance number 2, 4, and 6. Number 2 is exceeding FSI, and 4 is exceeding the building height. 6 is the same. These are not minor variances. How should we consider that whatever you have presented, that these are minor and we should give it approval? They are breaking the law, zoning bylaws.
The zoning bylaw, this is for a growing family. The area, the existing housing stock is fairly small. We're trying to accommodate a new situation for this family, which is growing, as well as the reality that working from home will continue on a permanent basis moving forwards. When the bylaw was created, I think that this was not a common scenario, but moving forwards, this I think is a very common pattern of development in the area, and has already begun in the precedences that we found. And for that reason, I believe that it's minor in nature.
Mr. Brown, the situation has to be resolved in the parameter of the zoning bylaws and the official plan. But these are exceeding the maximum allowable limits that one can have. So your justification is not to the point that I am convinced that these are not minor.
Mr. Brown, are you there? Do you have a comment?
Yes. I believe they are minor. We're trying to blend in with the neighborhood. By adding this floor area, we're keeping our front porch and neighborhood existing datums aligned with our neighbors in order to get this sort of floor, this height or level of floor space index and accommodation for the family. We would have to have a ground entry rather than the porch. By working with the existing building and maintaining these neighborhood datums, we're doing our best to blend in with the neighborhood and propose a sensitive design, as well as accommodate the needs of the family.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person we have registered to speak. I have a Jethro Seymour. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name's Jethro Seymour, and my address is 35 Hadley Road in Toronto, about 1 kilometer from the proposed house.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much for having me on. I respect the committee and the process. I've lived and worked in the community for quite some time, about 15 years. And this particular application is a fantastic addition to our community. They are working very hard to meet the 4 tests and are actually lower than some other proposed properties in the neighborhood. There was one recently approved by your committee at 100% on Cleveland. So this is at 85% of of the floor space index, and actually meets the 4 tests, as well as is a fantastic addition to the community. So I hope that you guys approve this. as it is for a growing family, and this neighborhood is full of homes that are on very tight, narrow lots. And we do need more space here for growing families. We want to be a family community, and this family has been been in the home for a long time, and they're just trying to work with the community. And as you've noted, a number of people, including their immediate neighbors, are supporting this. I do respectfully disagree with Mr. Khan that this doesn't meet the four tests and is not minor in nature. I think it is minor. And I think it is a wonderful addition to the community. With that, I would release my time.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Does this committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr.
Yes.
Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Seymour, you are advocating that all variances that exceed the allowable maximum or minimum are from your point of view, they should be allowed to be acceptable and disrupt the character and neighborhood, and you approve them. I don't agree with your assessment and approval of the thing, but nonetheless, your views are, I have heard. And if you want to comment what I have said, that the 2, 4, and 6 are not minor variances, by all means.
Mr. Khan, do you have is that a question? Is there a question there?
No, sir. No question.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? Being none, I'll go to the next speaker on the list. Marco Razzolini, are you there?
No, I'm not speaking for this application. I'm speaking for 28 Dunsmore. I'm the applicant.
Okay, if you'd like, if I could get your name and address, please.
Mr. Chair, sorry, it appears that
I think there's a mix-up
Marco
here.
was placed on the wrong spot on
I'm sorry, what was that?
Marco was placed on the wrong spot
Oh.
on our attendee list. Marco, which item are you interested in again?
Which
I am
one?
the applicant for 28 Dunsmore Gardens.
Oh, number 9, okay.
Thank you. We have you there too. Okay, thanks.
I'm sorry, Mr. Razzolini, my apologies.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. I'll go back to Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, are you there? Mr.
Hello,
Brown.
yes, I am.
Yeah, Mr. Brown, you've heard the comments from Mr. Seymour, who was in favor of your application. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I've listened to the explanations provided by the applicant here today, and despite the fact that there was one letter of objection from number 532, I think the overwhelming support letters as well as the testimony from one of the debutantes sort of sealed it for me. And upon review on this application, I think that's why this committee has been developed to help with approval of minor variances. And I do believe that this is a minor application and it is appropriate. And I think it was sensitively built. So for those reasons, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, and I'll make it subject to forestry condition number 2.
I'm sorry, did we have a forestry condition on that?
Sorry, it's number 6. Sorry, forestry condition, isn't it number 1?
There is no forestry conditions.
There's none on this one?
No, there are no forestry.
Okay, so I'll continue with my motion to approve as is.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. Sir, your application's been approved without condition. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
We'll go back to item number 6.
Thank you.
Mr. Wills, do we know if the deputant is here? Sir?
It does appear that the area resident is on the call now, yes.
Okay, I'll go back to item number 6, which is 541 St. Clement Avenue. I have the agent, Mr. Babak Haji Gassemi. Are you there, sir?
Hello, sir. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, hello, sir. I notice, I've just gone through your file. I note that we have one condition from staff, and that's from Urban Forestry. We have one other person registered to speak, sir, so if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Sorry, I don't know what happened. It seems that you were not able to hear my voice before.
Babak, it wasn't you. We were just waiting for an area resident to get on the call.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you. So the application before you is a proposal to build a two-story new dwelling with an integral garage. When we started working on the project, our intention was to design a structure that is smart, modern, efficient, using high-quality building materials. Designing a modern house on a narrow lot in the city of Toronto requires to amend some of the zoning bylaws, which you can see in our application before you. We have two variances for building length and building depth of 19.46 meters. That they measure the overall length of our structure, including our architectural features in the garage and in the basement level. However, if you refer to our main and second floor plans, you see that the overall dwelling length actually reduces to 18.69 meters on the first floor and 17.84 meters on the second floor. In terms of the FSI variance, this house is designed for a senior couple who's going to live and work in this house. Therefore, not only we needed to achieve the main principal rooms, we needed to have two offices and one studio, which all those requirements needed us to design and ask for a variance for an additional livable area. In terms of the variance number 6, I have to explain this variance because it's very misleading. We have a deck in the back that projects only 3.66 meters from our rear main wall. However, the examiner is measuring the projection from the other wall that is inset into the house. They are basically measuring the longest two distance from the two corners of the deck. Now, I have to mention that, again, this house is designed for senior homeowners. Therefore, we needed to design a wheelchair accessible home. The owners can drive into the garage, take the elevator to come up to the main floor. However, since this is a raised house, the only part of the property that is not accessible is the backyard. Therefore, we needed to design a larger deck that allows for the homeowners to enjoy their backyard from their deck. In regards to the main walls, we are only asking for 22 centimeters of variance. And if you refer to my front elevation, you see that due to the modern design of this house, we eliminated the roof projections. If we had those roof projections, the sidewall height would be reduced to 7 meters and 72 centimeters. We wouldn't have a variance, but we would have a larger volume. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the registered speaker. I have a Sarah Mark. Are you there?
Yes, hi. It's, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, madam. If I can get your full name and address, please.
Yeah, Marks at 529 St Clements Avenue.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, and I listened to everything that was presented just now. My concerns are really on the over densification of the area. All the new homes that are being built are always with many, many variances. The floor space is significantly more than what's allowed in the bylaw. And I sort of have a general question for the committee about what is a minor variance versus a major variance, because it seems like major changes are considered minor variances. So that's a kind of a point of confusion. And then my other concern, and so I don't know if the committee is able to respond to that, but my other concern is really about the deck, and I understand the explanation that was provided, but there's still a lot of space being taken up, and so the backyard is much smaller than neighboring properties. And I believe this is an elevated deck, so it's a large elevated deck that's going to be looking out over neighboring properties.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to the madam, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just wondering. Sorry, I'm just wondering if there's if you can provide some information about what is a minor variance versus a major variance. Like, are there any guidelines for that or any?
Well, madam, there's no hard and fast benchmark. It's based on after the committee looks at the application, it looks at the area, it visits the site, it sees the prevailing conditions in the neighborhood, and then it determines based on that input and based on comments we get from staff as well as the prevailing conditions on the street as to whether we consider the variances that the applicant is requesting as minor. And we don't take we don't take precedence into account. We don't take the fact that there may be newer homes on the street that may have been approved by a previous committee, that had similar variances. That doesn't factor into our discussion. It's to make sure that it's in compliance with the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and that the variances are minor. So it's basically based on our review of those factors that determines whether we think the variances are appropriate. But there is no hard and fast, there's no benchmark number that says, thou shalt not go beyond this particular number.
I understand the intent, so thank you for that explanation. I think what's happening is we're incrementalizing ourselves into significantly larger and larger houses with every application that goes by. And my objection is based on not needing such, it's just inappropriate to have such large homes being built consistently. And with each new one that goes up, it's easier for the next one. And then the next one is bigger and so on and so on and so on. And the green space is shrinking, and it's just not a good projection for the neighborhood whatsoever.
No, I understand your viewpoint, madam, and we certainly take that into consideration. So thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Go back to the agent, Mr. Gissemi. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Yes, sir. You've heard the comments from the previous speaker. If you'd like to reply to them.
Absolutely. So we realized having a larger deck in the backyard may raise some questions and concerns. That's why we reached out to our immediate neighbors who are being impacted by this proposal, and especially with this deck in the backyard. And they are in support of this application. We sent the support letters to the committee from all those immediate neighbors. In terms of privacy issues, usually we propose having privacy screens on these decks so that the homeowners are not looking into each other's backyards. And in terms of the FSI, I have to mention that this is a very unique block in the Leighton Park area. There are a variety of lot sizes existing in this block. Next door on the site plan, you can see the next door. The property is looks like to be more than 40 feet wide in frontage, or maybe 50 feet wide frontage, if I'm not mistaken. So that house, without even having a variance, can be as big as 4,000 square feet. Again, we're not trying to compete with the other houses in the area. We're just trying to achieve a design that suits the homeowner's needs, and that's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, is it correct that the neighbors on either side of your property they're both in favor of your application? Is that correct?
That's correct, and also the neighbors directly across from us.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Hunt?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sir, you mentioned in your comments about privacy screening. Is there an intent to put up privacy screening on that deck?
We can put them. It's not an issue. We've discussed this with the homeowners before. The same discussion arose when the next door neighbor was actually proposing something very similar, and we asked them to do so, and we're gonna install them. No problem.
Okay, so it sounds to me like if there was privacy screening, that would eliminate the concern expressed about overlook.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Can I have
Mr. Khan?
motion? Thank you, Mr. Chair. I find this application minor variances and complies with the zoning bylaws, so therefore I move that this application be approved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now on to item number 8. 207 Ellerslie Avenue. I have 3 people registered to speak. The agent is an Ali Shakiri. Are you there, sir?
Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East. Good morning.
Yes, thank you, sir. If you could, we have 2 other persons registered to speak, so if you could give the committee actually, before you start, I note that I've gone through your application, and I note that there are no comments or recommended conditions from city staff. So if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, what we have proposed here, Mr. Chair, we believe they are minor and in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. However, we've seen the letter of objection and petition signed by several neighbors. My client has been in contact with the neighbor, and so I was informed he has agreed to reduce 2 of the variances. Variance number 3, with regards to the wall height, is going to be reduced by 15 centimeters.
Hang on just a minute,
we are proposing.
Sir, if you're proposing, are you proposing changes to your application?
Yes, sir. Variance number 3, we would propose.
Okay, can you tell the committee up front what those changes are now?
Indeed. Variance number 3.
Okay, hang on just a second.
8.08.
Just a second. Variance number 3, which currently reads the proposed sidewall height is 8.08 meters. What are you proposing to change it to?
7.93.
So it's going from 8.08 meters to 7.93 meters.
That's correct, sir. Yes.
Okay.
And variance number 4.
Okay. Which currently says the building height is proposed to be 9.1 meters. What are you proposing to change it to?
8.95 meter.
Okay, so you're going from 9.1 meters to 8.95 meters.
Yes, sir, that's correct. I would like to state that we do believe that the variances are minor as it is, but my client has decided, out of respect for his neighbors, he has decided to basically reduce these 2 variances, which are the subject of the objection letter. I don't have any further comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Paula Coots or Leo Cahalan. Are you there?
Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Speaker,
can I get
this
your
is
full
Paula
name and
Coots.
address, please, ma'am?
Yes, it's Paula Coots, 209 Ellerslie Avenue, North York, M2N 1Y3.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Yes, so we live right next door immediately to the west. And my comment is not about the proposed development itself. That is for my other neighbor to talk about. I just wanted to mention there's a very large, healthy maple tree in the backyard of 205 Ellerslie, which is immediately east of the proposed development. But the tree is located right at the fence, and therefore there's a very large canopy over the proposed development's backyard, and most probably a massive root system. So I just think it's necessary to assess the impacts of construction on the tree's root system to see if it's necessary to have a tree protection zone while construction's going on. So it just want to make sure that tree is not impacted, even though it's not on the property, but it's right on the edge. And that's all. That's all.
Yeah, I thank you, Madam. The forestry staff has looked at this application. They have no comment on it, but I guess if you have issues with that, you can call forestry directly and voice your concerns. But we have no recommended comments or conditions from urban forestry on this application. So I just wanted.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Jim Gratsas, Gratsas. Are you there, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, it's Jim Gratsas. I live directly across from the applicant at 206 A is an Apple, Ellerslie. It's a detached home.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yeah, well, firstly, I'm the one who proposed that we heard the architect put forward. It's just missing a key caveat that I proposed that I would like to put back to the architect. And then a second more minor point. I propose cutting the building height variance in half with the important caveat that it be accomplished by lowering the rooftop height and keeping the height of the eaves fixed. The proposal wasn't to reduce the eaves height and accomplish the same thing. So it's a question for the architect. I was informed yesterday they were accepting my compromise, but I couldn't get confirmation that key caveat is being honored. So I don't know if it's to go back to the architect now and confirm that the midpoint of the roof will be reduced by reducing the rooftop height to accomplish those changes in variance. That was my compromise, and I didn't hear that part.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll ask the applicant when he comes back up. Do you have any further comments?
Well, actually, I can go through my whole presentation here if you prefer that.
Well, you have
the basis for my opposition.
Well, if you have 3 minutes, if you'd like to give us your presentation.
Well, just in case the architect doesn't accommodate my caveat, I'll do that quickly. I'm also the president of the West Willowdale Neighborhood Association. I've been actively advocating for responsible development in the community for 20 years to make your lives easier rather than having dozens of letters and speakers. You'll see if Adam, if you can call up my letter that I submitted, I'll be referencing it. In Exhibit 1 of this letter, I have 28 neighbors signing a petition of opposition. That is, all these neighbors are on the immediate block around the applicant. The neighbors immediately next door to the applicant and 4 neighbors across the street all signed this petition of opposition. I'll summarize because I'm hopeful it'll be a positive outcome with the architect. The basis of our opposition is based on several points, one of which the height variances would exacerbate the massing that we feel is overpowering for the immediate context. Adam, if you go to the second page, the home is situated, if you can go down one more, there you go. The home is that white bungalow, and if you look at the overhead view and to the left there, that two-story home next to the applicant is set back. So you see where I've written open space next to the applicant. And then next to that open space is a one-story protruding garage. The other side of the applicant is a one-story bungalow. So the applicant, which is proposing 2 floors above a garage, that's like effectively 3 stories. That'll be in a context where it'll be quite overpowering. And to get a sense of how that looks, you just need to look at the pictures on the bottom of this page. 209 Ellerslie has a twin property right next to it, 219 Ellerslie. It happens to have a development next to it at 221. So if you look at the photo in the bottom right corner, you see how that massing of that new home, that very tall wall, is opposite a setback 2-story home and a 1-story protruding garage. The same Boxton effect will happen at 207. What we're opposing is variances that will exacerbate this condition. The second point, if you go to the next page, is the 25 to 50-foot lot homes on this block that primarily have new homes on the lot. They tend to have homes that are, they all have, every single one of those homes has 1 story above the garage. This applicant's proposing 2 stories above the garage. It's out of character for the area, and what's driving that are the height variances. The point I'm making here on this page is, although the height variance is 0.30 originally, that translates to a 0.6 meter rooftop height variance, because when you raise the midpoint of the roof, assuming the eaves height stays the same, the rooftop goes up 60 centimeters. We feel that's not minor. It's a material and noticeable. I'll just summarize. There's also a precedent on the street 5 years
Sir,
ago.
could you
Similar
summarize,
variances
please?
were requested that were refused. Okay. Anyways, hopefully that was all redundant. Let's see what the architect has to say about my caveat.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to the agent. Mr. Shakiri, you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to comment on them, please.
Yes, the 2 changes that I made was basically the changes that I was authorized to make according to the directions I received from my client. However, listening to the comment from Mr. Gratzis, the eaves height of this proposal also is going to be reduced in height by 15 centimeters as a result of the other changes that I made. And I have to add the fact that the eaves height that we have currently are 30 centimeters, about a foot lower than what the bylaw allows. So we are not, the variance we are seeking for that is just for the windows on the sidewall, which is very common in the area, which we actually accepted to reduce that by 15 centimeters. So the answer is yes, the eaves also are going to be reduced in height by 15 centimeters. I'm not sure if the committee can impose a condition to an approval that is going to be limit the height of the eaves even lower than what the bylaw allows. But by all means, if you wish to do so, I have no objection. And regarding the other comments made here, I was unaware that we still have any issue regarding the other variances or the whole development. I just want to mention that Mr. Gratzis is living on, so I was informed, on 206A Ellerslie, which I encourage you to look at the image of that house on the Google to see that they do have one of these 3-story concepts. He's living in that. According to my measurement, his eaves are majorly higher than what we're proposing. I would say, based on my opinion, I haven't gotten that from a surveyor, but I have experience in this field, and I think it's about 1 to 1.5 meters higher than what we're proposing, and his building height and the middle of the roof, everything apples to apples is much higher than what we're proposing. I'm hoping that the changes I made is satisfactory, and once again I confirm that the eaves height also is going to be reduced. The general eaves height is going to be reduced by 15 centimeter as a result of the other changes we're making here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sir, going through your application, I noted that there had been a previous application on May 28th, 2014, where two of the variances regarding main wall height and building height were refused. And at that time, you were asking for you wanted to move from 7.5 to 7.8 on the main wall and building height of 8.8 to 9.45. Those were both refused. Now you're asking for 7.5 to 8.08, which appears to me to be a bigger increase, and you're reducing 8.8 from 9.45 to 9.10. So I'm wondering what's changed when those variances were refused before. What has changed to make this become minor variances?
Well, first of all, I wasn't aware of that application. I'm hearing it from you now, and I would assume that must have been submitted by another person with another owner with it under a different design. If we just
a moment, please. Just before you answer that, sir, Mr. Hunt, I just want to confirm. I'm just going through our file here on number 8, 207 Ellerslie. I don't see anything that makes reference to a previous decision.
Okay. Let me just follow it up.
Mr. Lamb, can you?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, through you, I do not see a previous decision for this address. Mr. Hunt, if you want to clarify for us, we can give you a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, I guess, Mr. Shakiri, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir, I have no further comment if there is no further question.
Mr. Lamb? Can you speak up, Mr. Lamb?
Yep, no problem. Sorry about that. Through you, Mr. Chair, in the package, there is a previous decision, but I don't think I think it's for 242. Is that what Mr. Hunt is referring to?
Yeah, my mistake. It's not the same.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunt. Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Just a moment, on this revised application. Please note that variance number 3 has been revised. So it now reads, variance number 3, the proposed front yard, number 3. Number 3, the proposed sidewall height is 8.08 meters. That is being reduced to 7.93 meters. Variance number 4, the proposed building height is 9.1 meters, and that is being reduced to 8.95 meters. There are no other changes. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the owner's shown good faith in working with the neighbors and coming forward with this revised application. I think the resulting variances are fairly modest. I'd like to put forward an amended proposal to accept this application and amended to revise variance number 3 to read the proposed sidewall height is changed from 8.08 meters to 7.93 meters, and variance number 4 revised to read the proposed building height change from 9.1 meters to 8.95 meters, and no further conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Item number 9, 28 Dunsmore Gardens. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Marco Razzolini. Are you there, sir?
Yes. Good morning, Sir Chair and members of the committee. My name is Marco Razzolini. I am the applicant for 28 Dunsmore Gardens. My address is 1140 the Queensway.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to note that I've gone through your file. There are no comments or recommended conditions on file from staff. You have 3 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances. I'll just ask, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this morning?
Not at this point, but happy to answer any questions if
Thank you,
they
sir.
arise.
Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I find this minor variances which complies the zoning bylaws. Therefore, I move that this application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 10, this is 38 Wood Thrush Court. I have 2 people registered to speak. And the agent is Reza Motadayan. Are you there?
Good morning. Yes, Mr. Chair and members of committee. My name is Reza Motadayan. I'm the agent on behalf of the owner. My address is 5 Sudan Avenue, Toronto, Ontario, M4S 0B1.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to know if there are a number of staff comments on file with your application. There's a Toronto Region Conservation Authority report dated the 12th of January that has no objections to your application. There's a recommended condition from Ravine and Natural Features Protection, basically a permit requirement. And there's also a Transportation Services Division report of the 12th of January of this year. They have no objection to your application, provided that you revise the site plan to show the existing and proposed driveway widths on the public right-of-way. If you, in view of the fact, have you had the opportunity to read those reports, sir?
I read the reports from the TRCA and the National Forestry, and we actually, because of some delays, we had to submit for the Revenue and Forestry just recently, so we didn't have time to review the full documents from arborist reports and the other documents, but it should be minor. I just wanted to know that there was a previous application which was approved.
Sir, back up a second. We have one other person registered to speak, so if you could give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your application. Sir?
Can I share my screen now?
Yes, can you start, please?
Yes. So the overall, I understand that there was an objection from a neighbor across the street. I just want to point out what that was about. So this new proposal is about adding a 2-story addition to the south side of the existing building. So there will be some renovations, and the building will be in line with the existing building, and the deck also in the rear. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so the rear deck will be in line with the existing rear deck, and the new proposed building will be also in line with the existing building. There was a previous application which was approved back in 2018, I believe, which was I was not part of, but that was for a new built house, which was a very large house to demolish the existing building and build a larger house. And I also read an objection letter from a neighbor across the street that mentioned that application, and I understand the concern. And I want to just note that this new proposed building is half the size of that building and is just 4,000 square feet overall, and would be appropriate, just similar to the other buildings in that area. The irregular shape of this lot, as you can see, is a corner lot, and the irregular shape, especially in the front, did not allow the building to move closer to the lot line. So because of that, we could not revise the site plans. So the architect had to just keep the building in line with the existing building, and thus the building depth would be a little bit more than what was allowed in the zoning. So that's what we discussed with the zoning staff, and also the setback, the width of the driveway was also the existing width. So all those comments, and also the minor minor variance was the height, which was just slightly higher than what the zoning allowed. So I wanted to just note that I believe that these requested variances are minor, and the building is much smaller than what was proposed before that in 2018. And I think that this should, and I hope that this would address the concern of the neighbor as well. And this would be more appropriate for the neighborhood, and the family can also move here and live in this area.
Okay,
So
thank
if
you,
you
sir.
have any question, I would be happy to answer.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next registered speaker. I have Jeffrey Moore. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, it's Jeffrey Moore, 20 Wood Thrush Court, M2K2B1, very close to the property we're talking about.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
In looking at the material that came to in the neighborhood, it looked like this house was going to be about 8,000 square feet with the expansion and leaving the existing house. A couple of years ago, or maybe more than that, they'd put in an application for a 6,000 square foot house that made some sense, but that never went forward. And now they're looking at not demolishing the existing house, but adding to it, and also a greatly increased height, which would look like quite inappropriate in the area. Now, what I just heard from the man, he said the house is going to be 4,000 square feet, which is different than from the information that we've been receiving.
Well, what we can do, sir, is when we go back to the agent, he can respond to your question. Okay, sir.
Interested to hear him.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Not really, other than that the requirements that they put in the application was really huge, in the sense that the houses in the area, the largest houses, are the ones that we own next to it in 4,000 square feet. And so our concern is really a disproportionate amount to go to 8,000 square feet with a lot that's got 40-foot frontage. And it would really be, it would be an inappropriate structure in that Baby Village area.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to the agent. Sir, are you there? Mr. Modadan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, you heard?
Yes, I just wanted to.
Yes, you heard?
Yes, I heard the
Sir.
comments from Mr.
Sir.
Moore. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. You heard the
Okay,
comments.
very
You heard the comments from the previous speaker.
Yes, I heard
Okay,
the comments.
if you'd like to respond to them, please.
Yes, sure. So I just wanted to point out that I think that Mr. Moore was referring to the previous application, which was submitted back in 2018. So that was an 8,000 square feet house. It was a new build. It was about to demolish the existing house. This new proposed building that we submitted for the committee of adjustment for the minor variance application. This one is just 4,000 square feet, and I I assure the neighbor that this is not that 8,000 square feet house, and it's a small footprint. It's a similar footprint to other houses in this neighborhood. The existing one was smaller, and I think that this will address the concern. So it's just smaller. It's not that big 8,000 square feet house.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chair, his voice was getting cut off and completely. I mean, I don't understand what he was talking about. I don't know how should I vote.
Okay, sir, I guess there was some problem there's some problem with hearing your reply. So can you describe what the proposed floor area of your proposed home? And how it relates to your original one in your 2018 application?
So the 2018 application was an 8,000 square feet new built house. And this one is just 4,000 square feet, exactly 4,104 square feet gross floor area for the existing and proposed altogether. Okay. So I believe that the neighbor was referring to the old proposal, which was approved back in 2018. This new proposed building is much smaller, is half the size of that building.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've listened to the explanations. I think I'm satisfied now with what I've heard. I would move approval of this application and referencing the Transportation Services January 12th letter, where they suggest it be subject to a revised site plan to demonstrate existing and/or proposed driveway widths on the public right-of-way, and the January 11th standard conditions from Urban Forestry, and noting that TRCA has no objections and there are no other department comments or concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to transportation services and urban forestry requirements.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Thank you. Mr. Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll just take a 5-minute break.
We'll restart the meeting at 11:30. 11:30.
Ladies and gentlemen, committee's back in session. We are now on item number 11, 4850 Yonge Street. I have one person registered to speak. That's a Tony Carriati. Are you there, sir?
Mr. Chair, at this time, Tony is not on the call. I have reached out to him, though, via email to remind him of his item.
Okay.
With that being said, I would like to note, though, if Tony is on the call, to please log in under the name he provided us, Tony, and not another name, so I can find you easier on my attendee list.
Thank you, Mr. Wills. I'll move on to item number 12. 83 Charles Wood Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Joe Domb, D-O-M-B. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Hi, my name is Joe Dome, 1101 Steeles Avenue West, agent for the owners.
Okay, thank you. Just a moment here. Let me get the file up here. Thank you. We have, I'm going through your file, sir. I note that there's only one staff comment on file with your application. That's from Urban Forestry, a recommended condition. You're asking for 5 variances. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this morning?
I do have a short presentation I'd like to make. If you would like to move past that, we can certainly do that. But I would like to say that that the owners would like to construct this dwelling with the purpose of better accommodating their family livability needs, and while respecting the existing built form of the area, and that there's quite a few examples of precedent for the variances requested.
Okay, thank you, sir. What I'll do is I'll just ask the committee. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker, or would it like a presentation? No? We have no other persons registered to speak, so if I could get a motion on this application, please. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I find this application has minor variances and complies with the zoning bylaw. Therefore, I move for approval with forestry conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries, sir. Your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'll just go back to Mr. Wills. Do we know if Mr. Carriati's here?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Carriati is still not on the call at this time.
thank you.
I'll let you know when he is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to item number, you know what I'll do, Mr. Wills? I'll put him at the bottom of this morning's list.
I like that idea, Mr. Chair.
you.
Thank you.
Item number 13, 129 Estelle Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is the agent, Bijan Jamali. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Bijan Jamali. I am the agent, and I'm residing at the 506 Blywood Road, Toronto, M4N 1B2.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just noted going through your file that there's a report from City Planning dated the 12th of January of this year. They indicate that they have no objections to your application, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached as attachment number 1 to their report. Just wanted to ask, sir, if you've had the opportunity to review that planning report.
Yes, sir, I am aware of that.
Okay, thank you. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in your variances, sir. I'll just ask, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us today?
No, I think that's all.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel the requested variances are minor and appropriate for the neighborhood. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application, subject to the condition that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached as attachment 1 to the planning staff report dated January the 12th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning condition.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, sir. Item number 14, 141 Shelburne Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Holman Choi, C-H-O-I. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, Mr. Choi is not on the call at this time. It should be noted also that the agent did not officially register.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, I do see that the potential agent is part of Sarah Ifra's consulting firm, and Sarah Ifra is on the call. So I would like to make an assumption that she's actually here to represent this file at this time. So I'll bring her up now and we can chat with her and find out.
Okay, thank you. Hello?
Hi, yes, I got the WebEx attendee and I did sign up, so I'm not sure.
Hang on, madam, just a
I'm
moment.
not sure what I missed.
Madam,
Yeah.
madam, just a moment. Can I get your full name and address?
Yeah, Sarah Ifra, 75 Dufflaw Road, Suite 201A,
Okay, and you,
Toronto.
and you're speaking on behalf of 141 Shelburne Avenue?
That's right.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to ask, madam, before we start, I've gone through your file. There are no recommended comments or conditions from staff. We just have the one variance before us, I think, on your application related to width of the stair. Pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask, madam, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this morning?
Nope, the proposed stair is exactly the same width of the stair that exists there today. It's just we're rebuilding it, making the risers slightly shallower, so it came out a little bit longer. So essentially, it's a new stair, so we have to go for the variance for the width.
Okay, thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Based on the fact that there's no department comments or concerns and that there's been no neighborhood of opposition to the change, I would move approval of this application.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries. Sir, your application's been, madam, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 15, 64 Harlandale Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's a Kyle Chadra. Are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, hello, sir. I just wanted to ask, I've gone through your file. There's a report from City Planning dated the 12th of January, 2022. And it's recommending a number of modifications to your application. They're recommending that you modify variance number 2 for the proposed lot coverage from 38.38% to 36.8%. And they're indicating that if that modification isn't made, that refuse that variance. They're also recommending that if this modification is made, that 30.17% shall be for the dwelling and carport and 6.61% for the detached garage. I just wanted to ask, sir, have you had the opportunity to read that city planning report?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm aware of that report, and we are in agreement with the conditions outlined there.
Okay.
I also read the councillor's comments, so if the committee is okay with making the amendment as described by the planning department, we're in full agreement with it. Thanks.
Okay, so what we're proposing to do is to change variance number 2, which currently reads the proposed lot coverage is 38.38%. And you're proposing to reduce that to 36.8%. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, Mr. Chair. And if you want to also break it down to specify the coverage for the dwelling on its own and for the, I mean, I just simply same as described by the planning staff.
Okay, thank you.
That would be good.
I just also wanted to say there was a letter on file from Councillor Fairlawn dated the 20th of January of this year. And he also supported planning's recommendation, and which you're adopting their recommendation as you're proposing today. I just wanted to ask, it's pretty clear what's taking place here, sir. I just wanted to ask, is there anything that you'd like to add that isn't contained in the material we have before us today?
I mean, maybe just to make it clear for the committee, the reason why we're making this adjustment is because there was an error on the zoning notice, and it was too late to submit an amendment because the application has been circulated by that time. So that's the reason why there is an amendment to the numbers. The plans will remain the same. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, if I could get a motion on this revised application. Please note that variance number 2 has been revised so that what currently reads the proposed lot coverage is 38.38% of the lot area. That is being revised so that the proposed lot coverage is 36.8% of the lot area. If I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I'll motion to approve this application and make it subject to the January 12th staff report. You've already read it out. I'm not sure if I'm needing to do it again for the record, but it's just basically that variance number 2 is reduced to 36.8%, of which 30.17% will be for the dwelling and carport, and 6.1% for the detached garage. And that's my motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, your revised application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. On the next one, item number 16, 29 Winston Park Boulevard, which is, I have one person registered to speak. That is a Mario Silva. Are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. It's Mario Silva.
Yes, thank you, sir. If I could get your full name and address, please.
Mario Silva, 100 Uxbridge, on behalf of this application.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just wanted to ask, I've gone through your file. I note that there are no comments or recommended conditions from staff. You have one variance before us relating to lot coverage. I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this morning?
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I find this application has minor variances. It's only one there. Complies with the zoning bylaw, therefore I move it should be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 17, 5 Daleberry Place. I have one, just a moment here. I have One person registered to speak, that's Michael Taylor. Are you there, sir? Michael Taylor, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Michael Taylor, are you there?
I am here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Michael Taylor of Taylor Smythe Architects, 245 Davenport Road, Suite 300, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And I'm the agent for this project.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to ask, there are two staff reports on file with your application. There's one from Transportation Services dated the 12th of January of this year. They have no objections to your application, provided that the applicant adds a notation on the site plan drawing stating that, quote, all portions of existing site access driveways that are no longer required must be closed and restored with soft landscaping and full concrete curbs to the satisfaction of Transportation Services, unquote. Another report from City Planning dated the 12th of January of this year. It recommends eliminating variance number 1 regarding the exterior stair width, eliminating variance number 2 regarding the driveway width, reducing variance number 3 regarding the lot coverage from 32.69% to 27.6%, and reducing variance number 4 regarding the second-story platform area from 18.04 square meters to 11.74 square meters. I just wanted to ask, sir, they indicate in their report that you've agreed to make those revisions. Is that the case, and have you read these reports?
That is the case, and I have read these reports.
Okay, thank you, sir. If we could just go to your application then, and then let's go through these revisions point by point. So we have variance number, variance number 1, which currently reads the stairs are 3.17 meters wide, and you're proposing to eliminate that variance?
If I could just point out that a revised and updated zoning bylaw notice was issued on December 22nd, where variances 1 and 2 were eliminated at that time.
Okay.
And so the report is just reflecting that fact.
Okay, thank you. With respect to variance number 3, which is the lot coverage, variance number 3, which currently reads the proposed lot coverage is 32.69% of the lot area. You're reducing that to 27.6%. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and variance number 4 regarding the second-story platform area, which currently is 18.4 square meters, that's being reduced to 11.74 square meters. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. And that's the extent of the changes.
That is correct.
Thank you. It's pretty clear what you're asking for, sir, in these variances. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
I think it's all very well explained in the material.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll just, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, if I could get a motion on this revised application, please note that variances number 1 and 2 have been eliminated. Variance number 3 regarding the proposed lot coverage has been reduced from 32.69% to 27.6%. Variance number 4, the proposed area of each platform, originally at 18.04 square meters, has now been reduced to 11.74 square meters. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please.
Can I make a motion?
Oh, yes, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have already mentioned elimination of variance 1 and 2 and modification and reduction of variance number 3 and 4. I'm not going to repeat them. And Transportation Services has already okayed and has no objection to his application. So I move this application be approved as modified and it should be approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Kidd and Ms. Sanker, are you in favor? Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. There was a transportation condition on that.
Yes, Mr. Khan had that in there. Thank you. You had it in there. Thank you. That motion carries.
I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. That motion carries. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to transportation services and city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Item number 18, 69 Wandless Crescent. I have 5 people registered to speak. The agent is a Shenshu Zhang. Are you there?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Shenshu Zhang, architect. Address 98 Scarsdale Road, North York.
Okay, thank you. Just going through your file, sir, I note there's a couple of reports from staff. There's one for recommended conditions from Urban Forestry. There's a report from City Planning dated the 12th of January. They're recommending that, just a moment here.
Yes, I have reviewed all the
Just a moment, sir. Their recommendation is that you reduce variance number 5 regarding the front and rear exterior main wall height from 8.51 meters to 8.50 meters, and eliminate variance number 8 regarding the east side yard setback. And that if committee should approve these revisions, staff recommends that the front and rear exterior main wall height be developed substantially in accordance with the front and rear elevation drawings attached to their report. Have you had the opportunity to read those reports, sir?
Yes, I have reviewed all the reports and discussed with the examiners.
Okay, so if I could ask, sir, are you proposing to make those changes as recommended by city planning?
Yes.
Okay, so if we could just go through them then. So variance number 5, which currently reads, the proposed main wall height is 8.51 meters, is being reduced.
Yeah, we changed it to 8.50 meters.
Yes, it's going from 8.51 meters to 8.50 meters. And variance number 8, which references the proposed east side yard setback of 0.60 meters, that's being deleted. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now that we've got that clarified, if you'd like to make a presentation to the committee on what you see as the merits of your revised application.
Yes. Yeah, I can quickly explain the variances. So actually, the variance number 2 is not required because the zoning bylaw allows the minimum side yard setback to be 0.45 meters if we don't have doors or windows.
Okay.
So that is our case.
Sir, back up. So you're proposing. Yeah. You're proposing to delete variance number 2?
Yes.
Okay, so variances number 2 and 8 are being deleted. Variance number 5 is being revised. Are there any more changes?
No.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to proceed with your presentation on what you see as the merits of your revised application.
Yes. So that's all the changes.
Okay, if you'd like to proceed with your presentation.
Yes. So the house is located in the downtown Toronto. What I can explain is that we proposed the east side setback 0.6 meters, which is less than, greater than the existing building that has a setback of 0.29 meters. The east side building, the neighbor's building, has the similar setback of 0.28. So I think that setback first is greater than the existing building, and secondly, greater than the allowed setback of 0.45 meters. So I think that is a appropriate design. That's all I'd like to add to my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, sir, did you have more to present? I'm sorry.
No, I don't
Okay,
have.
thank you.
Unless you have questions.
Okay, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to our next person on the list. I have Julian Yeomans. Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Full name is Julian Yeomans, 71 Wandless Crescent,
Okay, thank you, sir.
M4N 3C2.
If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Sure. The proposed development seems to be incongruent and insensitive, I think, to the characteristics of the neighborhood. What is proposed is, in terms of the length of the house, including the proposed modifications, is to push what is the existing house back 5 meters, which goes significantly through the backyard. And in addition, to add on to that, another 2.5 meters with a deck. And so, in effect, they're creating a large property that's going back 7.5 meters on the existing property or existing structure that is going to be demolished. This has impacts on not only the aesthetic of the neighborhood, but it blocks off a significant portion of our backyard in terms of their extension. Also in terms of privacy. I mean, their deck is proposed to be at a height of 9 feet, which is significantly above the level of the sort of six foot odd fence. So that's a significant impact on our privacy, as well as the windows that are now going to be added on to this new property, which will be overlooking us. So privacy is a big issue for us in terms of this overlook, and maybe windows, if they were frosted, might mitigate something like that. But in particular, this deck, which would be able to look back over our entire backyard in combination with both the height and the length of this new property, which is like a massive wall that will go across the backyard. Now, in combination with this is the actual area of the structure, because this is going to have impacts on drainage due to the significant reductions to the soft landscaping, which I think would greatly increase the flooding potential there. So where I take issue with this in sort of summary of this is the privacy that this large new structure is going to infringe upon, the drainage, which is going to be severely impacted.
Sir, before you go, the Committee of Adjustment does not deal with drainage. The drainage issues is dealt with at the time of building permit stage, which means that the applicant, if his application is approved here, he has to submit a lot grading plan to the building division that confirms that all his stormwater is being managed on site. So that's part of the building permit requirement. But we don't deal with
very well.
That issue doesn't factor into our decision.
I'm doing this in terms of the soft landscaping thing. So I'll withdraw the remark about drainage. I'm sorry about that. The other parts are this massive new wall structure which goes across, which impacts not just us, but all of our neighbors to the west, which does infringe upon our enjoyment of our own property for us and for our neighbors. So in summary, I think that this proposed building is out of character.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a James Lambis. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
James Lambis, 67 Wandless Crescent.
Okay, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application, please.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I'm the owner of 67 Wandless Crescent, which is the property to the east of the applicant, 69 Wandless Crescent. Further to my written submission to committee, I'm very concerned with variances number 1 and 2 related to the side yard, east side yard setback and eaves encroachment. These requested variances reduce the east yard side back and allow for a reduction in the setback of the eaves into the proposed setback, and in my opinion are not appropriate or warranted. And our existing situation right now is such that the eaves actually touch and overlap, and so I'm really concerned about this east yard setback. The reduction in these two requirements on the east side of my property will potentially have implications to our ability to construct a new home on our property, which was subject to committee approval and for which we have a valid building permit. We've already...
Sir, I don't mean to interrupt, but did you hear that the applicant is deleting variance number 2? That's the proposed east side yard setback. He's deleting that variance.
I just heard that, sir, and that is good news, except I don't know what the proposed setback will be at this time. He was suggesting that
if he deletes variance number 2, then the minimum required side yard setback would be 0.90 meters. That's what's allowed under the bylaw.
Okay. So that's good. I'm glad that that's, you know, I will also say that, and maybe I'll finish with my points and summarize, I guess, on a couple of other points with regard to the communication on this development, but I appreciate your comment, Mr. Chair. I was saying that that the reduction of the 2 requirements on our east property line would potentially have implications to our ability to construct our new dwelling, which we have committee and permits for. We've already experienced significant issues and delays as a result of construction on our east property line when 65 Wandless Crescent was constructed. So I'm very sensitive to side yard and issues with regard to construction of these homes. Further, the elimination of the 2 referenced, or actually 1 referenced variance now on the east side yard variance number 1, is not going to materially impact the redevelopment of the property, as there'll be considerable GFA remaining in the residence with the elimination of this variance. And I would suggest that, in my opinion, the 2 or the 1 requested variance does not represent appropriate or desirable development of 69 Wandless Crescent. Noteworthy also is that I didn't receive notice of this application and heard of this application through a neighbor. I understand there might have been an issue with receiving that notification, but even still, as a professional courtesy, I would have expected the owner's representative or the owner to have been more proactive in communication with me. I think that would be something that, as a neighboring developer or applicant, that should have been done. I'll also comment that I had very limited interaction and communication, despite some requests from Mr. Zhang, the applicant's representative. And in an email communication to me, he informed me that they were intending on deleting or eliminating variance number 1, the side yard variance. So I'm a little disappointed to hear today that they're proceeding with that variance.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Mary Catherine Tierney or Herbert Marhuis.
Mr. Chair, both area residents are on the call. Would you like to select one?
They're not here?
They're both on the call.
Okay, we'll take, all right, we'll listen to them both if that's what they would prefer.
We'll start with Mary then, if that's all right, Mr. Chair.
Yep. Mary Tiernan, are you there?
Yes, I am, but I'm going to allow my husband, Herbert Marhuis, to speak on my behalf. We both live at 73 Wandless Crescent.
Okay, thank you. If he would, okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Go ahead, Herbert, you're unmuted.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chair and ladies and gentlemen of the committee. I guess the first thing up that I would like to address, there has not been a sign up on this house since January the 9th, even though there are people living in the house.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So,
thank you for letting us know. Sir, if you'd like to proceed with your comments.
Okay, this is one of the smallest lots in the neighborhood. It is at the confluence of 3 streets, and it is a detached home currently, as is the neighbor. And what they're proposing is the only house on any of these streets that has 2 stories above the garage. So from a point of view is that it is substantially larger in appearance than any of the other neighbors. Because there is a right-of-way in this house, that means that in order to get the size, it has to be squeezed aft to make room for the square footage. And that's already been addressed by Mr. Yeomans.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is that
He's also addressed, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. The soft area of the property has been addressed. It is 5.7 greater than the maximum allowed from a distance point of view, as in the length of the building. The space index, the floor space index is 22% greater than the allowed. And of course, the gross floor area is also 22% larger. One of the ways we could solve the problem with regard to the length is that we could move the house forward by 2 meters and drop 1 meter off the length, which would then make it much more amenable to the neighbors on either side. And that would solve a lot of the problems that we're looking at and discussing at this particular moment. And I was wondering if the architect would like to address that issue.
Well, we can ask him when he comes back up, sir. Okay, thank you. Is that anything else to add, sir?
Well, what the 8 years ago, at 69 Wandless Crescent, they applied and received approval for the setback being only 2 meters rather than the appropriate allowance. So it would match with what's going on next door, and then the house would be even with the neighboring house as well to the west.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Tara O'Hagan.
Mr. Chair, members, Tara was on the call earlier, but she has since dropped off the call, so she's not present at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll go back to Mr. Zhang. Are you there, sir?
Yes, hi.
Yes, you've heard the comments from the previous speaker. He's also a comment that there was no sign posted on the property. Is that true?
Yes.
You didn't have a sign posted on the property?
Oh, we posted on January 6th. I sent the picture to Emily.
Mr. Chair, I can confirm that in our internal files, we do have an image of the sign being posted. We can show it if you'd like, just to confirm, but there is an image in our...
If you could do that, Mr. Wills, that would be great.
Let me see if I can share it for you real quick and for all the members.
Okay, Mr. Zhang, if you'd like to respond to the comments from the previous speakers, please.
Yeah, sure. So actually, we do not have any variances above the building length and the deck. And above the east side setback, as I have already explained, we discussed, we complied with the zoning bylaw. And actually, that will be greater than the existing building and also greater than the west the setback of the neighbor's building. And about the setback of the west side, because there is a right of way of 1.1 meters, we keep our building beyond that area and retain the required right of way. And about the front yard landscaping, if you look at the numbers, it seems we have a large variance for the landscaping requirements. But if you look at the site plan, we discussed with also the examiner, we do not have variance for the driveway or driveway width, but because the driveway is located in the west side, which that part, the front yard is much deeper. So that's the reason why that part take a larger percentage of the front yard total area. The east side is much shorter. And that gentleman recommended to move the building 2 meters closer to the street. Technically, we can do that, and we can that will still provide enough driveway to park a car in front of the garage, but that will require a variance for the front yard. Also, current design, the front yard setback is provided as required, and also where line up with the neighbors. That is good for the neighborhood to keep the streetscape. And above the coverage of the rear yard, yeah, the building is has a larger footprint than the existing, but we are going to remove the shed in the rear yard. We are going to have actually larger rear yard area. I think we what the neighbors talked, we understood, and we actually look at that. We tried to do our best to address the issues. And another thing is about the windows facing west. Yeah, we can have stained glass or something to improve the privacy. That's what I can say now. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chair, in the meantime, we can show you the image
yes,
now.
If you have it there, can you
we
put
do.
it up, Mr. Wills?
Yep. So there's the image we have on file of the sign being posted on the property.
Okay.
And if you do zoom in, it does say, 69 Wandless Crescent, and it does say the date today and everything like that. So
Okay.
it just might be a little blurry on the screen.
Thank you, sir. We'll go back to committee then. If I could get a motion on this revised application, please note that with respect to the variances, variance number 2 has been deleted. That's the variance that relates to the east side yard setback. Let me just go. Yeah, that's proposed, pardon me, variance number 2, which is the proposed east side yard setback of 0.60 meters, has been deleted. Variance number 5, the proposed main wall height is 8.51 meters. That has been reduced to 8.50 meters. And variance number 8, which is the proposed east side yard setback, is 0.60 meters. That has been deleted. So if I could get a motion on the revised application, please. Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I listened to the concerns from the neighbors, and I do feel that the proposal as amended is perhaps a good compromise. It goes towards addressing some of the concerns of the neighbors. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application as amended. Variance number 2 and number 8 to be deleted, and variance number 5 to be revised. You read that change into the record. I won't repeat that. And I'd like to make it subject to the condition that the front and rear exterior main wall height to be developed substantially in accordance with the north and south elevation drawings attached to the planning staff report dated January the 12th, 2022, and also subject to forestry condition.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kidd. Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions and city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We'll now go back to item number 11, which was, pardon me? No, we'll do, I'm sorry. I was gonna, okay, we can do it. We'll do 19. Item number 19, 300 Hillmount Avenue. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is a Ben Domingos. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Hello, sir. I have, going through your file, I note that we have just one staff comment. That's recommended conditions from urban forestry. I see here that if you could, we have one other person registered to speak, sir. So if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Okay.
So if you'd like.
Starting now?
Now, if I could get your full name and address first.
Yes, it's Ben Domingos, 133 Evans Avenue in Toronto, M6S 3V9.
Thank you, sir. Proceed.
Okay, so actually I would like to start with, there was a letter of objection that was submitted by the neighbor at 302 Hillmount. I advised my client to reach out to the neighbor and try to, or listen to his concerns and try to work things out. Apparently there was, as I have been told, there is an agreement that was reached. And as a result of that, there's one particular revision to the variance that I'd like to make, modification.
If you'd like to tell us what that is up front.
Yes, absolutely. Minor variance number 4, which relates to the west. Yeah.
Variance number 4 reads the proposed west side yard setback is 0.81 meters.
Right. We'd like to modify that to say 0.91 meters.
Okay, so it's being increased from 0.81 meters to 0.91 meters.
That's correct. The wall is being shifted over by about 4 inches to be 3 feet from the property line.
Okay.
That particular modification slightly adjusts the lot coverage, and I'd like to also indicate we should modify that as well, just to be consistent, and that is minor variance number 1.
Okay, so you're proposing a change to minor variance number 1, which means the proposed lot coverage is 37.7% of the lot area. What are you proposing to change?
It'll be reduced to 37.5%.
Okay, so it's going from 37.7 to 37.5%.
Just a slight reduction, yes.
Okay, thank you. Is that the extent of the changes?
That's correct. That's the extent of the changes. That's what my understanding that was discussed between the neighbors. Yes.
Okay, if you'd like to just elaborate more on what you see are the merits of your revised application.
Hillmount Avenue is a street in transition. There's a variety of older homes and newer homes, 2-story and 1-story homes. Many recently built 2-story homes with the scale and massing of this proposal that we're planning here at 300 Hillmount to be actually even the existing conditions. There's some larger homes that have already been improved, and some existing homes that are also have massing and sizing which is equal and or in excess of what we're proposing here. In this manner, we feel that this particular proposal is in keeping with the existing neighborhood context. We ask that you approve the minor variances with these modifications. I mean, I have a list here of many different homes in the neighborhood that have been approved in excess of all the variances that we're asking for here. We can go through those if there's more questions as we go through this process. But for now, I guess I'll pass it back to the committee.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just have a question with regard to variance number 3. You're proposing an east yard setback of 1.1 meters.
Correct.
But I notice on your on the site plan you're showing 1.01 meters.
Yes,
nine centimeters less.
Yeah, that is, I believe, is a typo from the what was written here, but we will go with the 1.10.
Okay.
So,
okay, thank you.
So just to be clear, sir, to follow up on Mr. Kidd's question, that it's a typo. The plan should read 1.10 meters. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Stefana Princip or Sergio Giorno. Are you there?
Yes, we're here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Stefana Principe and my husband Sergio Giorno at 302 Hillmount Avenue, Toronto, Ontario. Mother 6, brother 1, yellow 4.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, well, we did agree with the homeowner to go with the 3-foot setback on the east side, on the west side, sorry. Because we knew that it would get approved at the 2 foot 8 inches, but we're not completely in agreement with them exceeding the minimum side setback, especially since it's a small area and their lot is the grading. They're about 2 feet higher than our home is, and the fact that they're exceeding the height restrictions, it is going to block our east light. It's just going to feel very tight, and it's unfortunate that they have to go with such a wide footprint in the front.
Okay, thank you, madam. What's that? Do you have any further comments?
Well, I know that you commented to a previous speaker that we can't speak to the grading at this time with the drainage, that it has to be addressed at a later point. But that is our biggest concern, because all of their downspouts, all their water goes to ours, because they are on a slope and they're over 2 feet higher than us, and we receive all their water graded.
Madam, I'll just,
Yes.
I'll repeat what I said to a previous speaker a while back. The committee doesn't deal with lot drainage issues. That's dealt with at the building permit stage, when the applicant has to submit a lot grading plan that shows that all his stormwater is managed on site. So that drainage doesn't factor into our decision.
Okay. What about the grade level for the height of the house? Is that addressed here for the height issue?
I don't, let me just see here. I don't believe that there was a height variance. Just a moment.
There is?
That's the building height under the old obsolete North York bylaw. The actual height of the building complies with the new City of Toronto bylaw, the 2013 bylaw. 7625 is an obsolete North York bylaw.
As I said, we knew that.
But the height does comply with current regulations.
Okay. Well, that's our biggest concern, that it just feels very narrow, and the fact that if their utilities go on that side of the house, and with the grade elevation constantly, the service people are always coming on our property to address their utilities.
Okay, thank you. We'll make sure that the applicant addresses your comments when he comes back. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to the agent. Mr. Dominguez, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You've heard the comments from the previous speaker. If you'd like to reply to them.
Yes. So basically, where we were placing the actual building was actually almost exactly the same spot where the existing house is right now. We understand there was issues with drainage and so on, and this is why they met. They agreed that they will make it a little bit better. We'll shift the wall over a little bit better to allow for better drainage and to create a retaining wall there that directs water within their property. All of those things were discussed, and moving the wall over by the small amount, 4 inches, and getting the 3 foot in there will help with that, to address that. So I think that my client has worked with the neighbor to try and come up with some sort of compromise that will make the existing condition actually better in the new development.
Okay,
with the drainage.
Thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this revised application? Please note that variance number 1 has been changed. The proposed lot coverage is 37.7% of the lot area has been reduced from 37.7% to 37.5%. Variance number 4, which currently reads the proposed west side yard setback is 0.81 meters, is being increased from 0.81 meters to 0.91 meters. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not going to repeat the modification and variance number 1 and 4, but I find these are minor variances, therefore complies with the zoning bylaw, and I move this application be approved with forestry conditions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Go back to item number 11, 4850 Yonge Street. I understand we have the agent Ferdinand Wagner. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. Ferdinand Wagner, 450 Lindbrook Road, Whitby, Ontario, L1P2A3.
Thank you very much, sir. I just wanted to ask, I've had the opportunity to go through your file. I note that there's one staff report on file here from Transportation Service. Transportation Services dated the 12th of January, and they indicate that they have no objections to your proposed parking variance. And so I just ask, that's the only variance you're requesting. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us today?
Yes, just one major point. The variance going from 14 spaces to 2, plus there's also 2 tandem. The reason in that area, the parking spaces are mostly used by users of the restaurants, right? And all the adjacent properties have retail and restaurants, and therefore it is sort of a part-time use of parking. Also, there's a very, very large parking lot right behind the site, which is usually a bit more than half full, sometimes 3/4 full. So I don't believe that this variance would cause any problems in terms of parking issues. And that's basically all I want to say.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just asked, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I mean, if the experts in transportation don't have an issue with the proposed variance, I'm willing to accept that. So I'll move forward to put forward a motion to approve this application and as is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks the members of the committee.
Thank you. And I believe that closes our morning agenda. So we are adjourned until 1:30. We'll see everybody back then.